You know, when I made the farming guide video, I thought I gave all of the best tips and tricks to making a lot of money on Origin Realms. And in all honesty, I did. Well, kind of. Believe it or not, there are some things I missed during my guide. Since making it, I've discovered some new tips and tricks along with changing up some methods of mine. While we're here, I might as well go over some of the changes the server's made that affects how farming works. There aren't many, but there are enough to justify making a small list. One thing that I neglected to mention is that you technically don't need a watering can to fill your sprinkler system. You can actually use a bucket. Yep, by filling up a normal bucket with water, you can actually fully fill a sprinkler from any level. I would be careful though. If you accidentally use the bucket on your sprinkler while it's full, it'll end up dumping water on all of your crops and ruin the batch. The next thing I want to talk about is the method of planting. So in my original video I talked about not placing stacks of fertilizer and seeds into planter boxes and opted to only placing stacks of soil instead for fear of misclicking while harvesting. While after a while I came to the conclusion that I was wrong. I know, it shocked me too. But seriously, if you have a massive farm, or at least plan to have a massive farm, placing fertilizer and seeds one by one ends up wasting so much time. I would spend upwards to 40 minutes just planting one harvest, and to be honest, it's not worth all that time. So by placing a stack of each item, you end up saving way more time, and while yes, you are more likely to end up misclicking a couple of times and wasting soil and fertilizer while harvesting your crops, the time you save by doing it more than makes up for it. What really changed my mind is the fact that Origin Realms got a huge quality of life update that allows you to shift click stacks into each of your planter boxes, which is just a huge fix that should have been done a lot earlier. Before you couldn't do this, and it was extremely tedious to fill each planter box and was not worth doing in my eyes. Anyways, it's been fixed now, so for all you farmers with massive farms like mine, go ahead and fill those boxes to your heart's content. Or don't. You do you. I just think it's worth considering. Last big thing I missed that I wanted to mention is probably one that'll affect the most people. I didn't know this up until way after the video, and it was brought to my attention after the fact. It turns out that the type of hoe you use really does affect your crop yield rates. See, using most hoes with max enchantments, and of course assuming you're using fertilizer and soil, will grant you a relatively even amount of 2 and 3 star crops with a small chance to get golden crops. However, if you use the netherite hoe, you actually get way more 3-star crops than you would with any other hoe. I used the legendary hoe because I didn't know any better and because it was God! And I would usually get about 2 stacks of 2 stars and 3 stars. But now with the netherite hoe, I usually get around 3 stacks of 3-star crops before I even get a single stack of 2 stars. The difference is actually way more massive than I gave it credit for. So make sure to use the netherite hoe. It really does make a difference and one of the main reasons I wanted to make this video in the first place. Now let's go over a couple things that the server has changed that maybe affect your ability to move forward as a new player. As I'm sure you all noticed, slash badges have been removed, as well as all the tasks NPCs. Instead, it's been replaced with badger quests. These are tasks you can do for Badger that require you to do various different rewards, but you all know this. Last thing I want to cover is the tragedy that has occurred against the entire Origin Realms farming community, and that is the death of the sniffers. Now, before you get confused, no, sniffers haven't been removed. They've just been nerfed to the ground. Farming sniffers before the update was the best way of getting massive amounts of seeds for farming. However, due to the recent update, sniffers will no longer be able to get crop seeds naturally. Let's go over each of the changes so you know how it works. The first thing they changed was actually a buff because sniffer eggs will now hatch faster. And that's actually a cool thing considering how long it took for a single sniffer to hatch before. Also, while we're here, both ancient seeds can now be used in compost blocks. So for all of you guys who love to have an infinite amount of bone meal, and for some reason don't have a skeleton spawner, congrats. But this is about where the buffs end, and where we start to see the nerfs. Sniffers can only breed once in their lifetime, meaning you have to go out and gather a bunch of eggs. It's not the worst thing in the world, it's not like there's going to be a shortage of eggs after this. The next nerf hurts a bit more, and that's the fact that they made Sniffers' time between digging up seeds increased. Meaning it takes longer for Sniffers to find scents and dig up seeds in general. To be honest, this is a perfectly fair and balanced change to the Sniffer. I mean, my massive seed farm gave no reason to even think about purchasing crops from Jacko, and that totally deserved to be slowed down a bit. However, that's not where it ends. This next nerf completely kills any use for the Sniffer, and any hope to farm up seeds on your own. Sniffers will no longer be able to dig up crop seeds on their own. Yep, you heard that right. Your AFK crop seed farm is now useless. You can no longer get free crop seeds from Sniffers. No, instead, in order to get Sniffers to dig up crop seeds, you have to give them the crop of your choice, which causes it to now have a chance to dig up the seed of the crop that you gave it. And before you ask, yes, it has a cooldown. There's really no reason to farm crop seeds anymore, considering the amount of work you have to do to get a small amount of them. You would just be better off buying them from Jacko to save your time. I don't know. I'm doing a few tests on them to see if maybe there's a way you can farm them to make it work, but so far, I've not seen many promising results. And that's about all I have on things I've missed. I really just wanted to clear a few things up and make a video on all of these, but I couldn't find a reason to do them separately, so I decided to make them all in one video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to farm every crop to maximize your gains. Except chili and lettuce.